So let's start off with talking about the basics. Let's really just master the basics and do a really quick overview of the menstrual cycle.
Okay, so I always tell people your menstrual cycle is a blueprint, and there are 4 phases to the menstrual cycle. Phase 1 being menstruation. This is when you're on your period, the uterine lining is shedding. I feel like everybody's very familiar with this, right? Then the second phase of your cycle is the follicular phase. So post period, but pre ovulation. During this time, key hormones, estrogen and the follicle stimulating hormones specifically, are actually on the rise. And you notice your energy levels are on the rise, and you're like, oh, I want to be social all of a sudden. Then the third phase of your cycle is ovulation. We all know what ovulation is, but in case you don't know, let me introduce her as the main event of the menstrual cycle. But more specifically, this is when one of the eggs ruptures from your ovaries, and this is your fertile time. Now, in addition to this, you have an increase in estrogen as well as testosterone, and of course, the luteinizing hormone. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty details of that, but just think of this as like that Diana Ross memo where you're like, I'm coming out, I want the world to know, right? This is where you're social. This is where you're feeling really, really great. Now, this only happens for up to 32 hours max. And then you actually get out of ovulation and into the fourth and final phase called the luteal phase. Now, most of us know the luteal phase as PMS, right?
Right.
Premenstrual syndrome. I personally call it personal mystery solved because when it sneaks up on you, you're kind of like, oh, now I
Mhm.
know. I'm bloated. Oh, I'm cramping. Oh, I'm irritable, right? We know all of these
Totally.
symptoms associated, right? But that's the fourth phase. During this time, there's actually a decrease in your estrogen and increase in your progesterone. And one of the most important things I think people need to know is that with a decrease in estrogen levels, there's also sometimes a decrease in the amount of serotonin produced, which may explain why we're moody from time to time. I'm not blaming it for
Totally.
all of it, but it's very
Right.
plausible. So that's kind of that high level overview of the menstrual cycle as well as the phases.
I love that. Yeah, the follicular phase, I always feel like it's the superwoman phase. You just want to take all the things on. You're so energized. You're so excited. Yeah, energy is high, right? So I know that you also talk about syncing your cycle to business and work. So yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay, so earlier on, I said the menstrual cycle is a blueprint, and I really believe this to be true as someone who was a working professional a little over 2 years ago now, as someone who was a corporate woman, but also now someone
Right.
who's an entrepreneur, I know this to be true. So when you're looking at your menstrual cycle, break it down into those 4 phases, and essentially each phase is going to be about 1 week, let's just say, when you're starting out. Phase 1 menstruation is all about ideation, okay? There's 25% more connectivity between the right and left hemispheres of your brain. So rather than being like, oh, I need to execute the vision, just clarify the vision and think about it. Do a little bit of goal setting and vision casting. Then during the second phase, so during that follicular phase, this is a time where I say, let's create the game plan, create your launch plan, create how you're going to serve your clients or automate systems. I do a do it, delete it, and delegate it list because
That's a good one.
I have a Virgo rising. I'm also an Enneagram 8. So, like, I do like systems from time to time, not often, but from time to time, I do enjoy it. Then, during the third phase of your cycle, ovulation, this is execution. This is when we're bringing the vision to life. Now, during this phase, the cool thing that is happening in the brain is there's more activity between the hippocampus and the amygdala, making your memory better, but also your ability to connect and communicate so much better. Couple that with this rise in your estrogen, and it's like you are unstoppable. And then
Mhm.
also during this time, so once you're done ovulating and you get into that luteal phase, but in that early luteal phase, your prefrontal cortex, okay, shrinks a little bit in activity. And your brain actually makes a switch from being very allocentric and thinking about the external world and what everybody else needs to your internal world and what you need. So in business, this is where we're going to do some evaluation, right? Phase 1, ideation. Phase 2, creation. Phase 3, execution. Phase 4, evaluation. So this is all the number stuff that I hate personally. The only numbers I like to
Same.
see are like what's coming in I don't even want to know what's going out. I know what's going out, but I just want to know what's coming
Totally.
in, right?
100%.
How you can utilize it for your business, because what you need to do maybe as a business coach is going to be really different than what I do as a period coach, and then what you
For
do
sure.
as like a project manager, right? Who someone who might have a 9 to 5 is going to look vastly different than what like maybe a hairstylist is doing. So that's kind of the, again, the blueprint and the framework of it.
I love it. And that's a great way to remember it as well, the way that you broke it down. And I love, can you tell us that list again? The delegated, what was, yeah, what were those?
Do it. So this is what you need to be doing, and like literally only you can do it. So only you can show up on your Instagram stories unless like your team is a part of the like brand and they're used to seeing it, right?
Right.
Delete it. Things that are always on the list that never get done, that really they're like, I hope, I wish, I pray, but like not a priority, right? And
Right.
then
Right.
delegate it. So, for business owners, this could look like where you might need your social media manager or your online business manager, or, maybe where you want to do a CRM and delegate some work to like a ClickUp situation or something like that. Um,
Right.
and I pretty much do one of those. It feels like every day because I feel like I'm going a million miles a minute, but I
Yep.
definitely kind of strategize and streamline everything during that follicular phase.
I love that. Yeah. It's so funny that you mentioned Instagram because it's one of those things in my business that I just can't delegate out to my team. I've tried in the past and I'm like, this just doesn't work. Like I can't. And I'm very on the fly.
Me too.
Everything else in my business is very structured, organized, scheduled, all of it. My Instagram is like, oh, I'm inspired by this thing right now. I'll just go post. Oh, this thing. Okay, I'll just do a reel now. Like it's so random. And so that's why I can't I can't pass it off to my team.
And I think
Yeah,
also it's like Instagram is an outlet and something that we can utilize to be creative. And I feel like the
totally.
moment I have to systematize it, the moment I is like, I'm bored with it. I don't want to be on
Oh,
it. I don't want to do
yes.
it. I'm building a habit now. More so like making sure like my content, at least on my brand Instagram, is a little bit better than on my personal Instagram. But again,
Right.
for me, it's a creative outlet. It's a marketing tool. It is not the end all be all of my business. But at the same time, I'm just like, man, I have to make sure I post today. Like I don't know,
Right.
it's interesting.
Yes.
And this whole process is also something you can use in the week. And I feel like entrepreneurs need to know this. So do you mind if I just go ahead and share how we
Go for it. Yeah, please.
so, the way that my work week is structured is Sunday is an ideation day. That's like the day where I like to be a little bit chill and like kind of look at what's happening ahead. So, I look at what my personal calendar looks like, what my professional calendar looks like, any other things that I might need to remind my team of. On Monday, that's a creation day. So that's a lot of time where I am on calls with my team members, but also maybe if I'm collaborating with a brand or a fellow creator or another coach, we generally will talk on a Monday.
Right.
Tuesday, that is what I like to call my execution and community day. So, this is a lot of front facing stuff for my clients, for anybody pretty much. This is also when I'm
Right.
like batching my reels, my TikTok, which is so much fun right now. I don't know if I'm
I
really ready
haven't
for TikTok.
I haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet.
Wednesdays are generally going to be like, for me, they're normally project management days, with the exception of like certain days where I'm like, oh, I can pop on a person's calendar here and do something else that I want to do, like nurture another community and different things like
Totally.
that, right?
Yeah.
If I have anything else that needs to get done on Thursday, it will be another like execution client community day. Then Fridays, they're my favorite days. They are called my R&D days. So the first half of Friday, I'm doing research and development for like a big project that I'm working on,
Mhm.
just different things like that. And then the second half of Friday, I do rest and digest. And this is
Love
where
it.
I am literally just treating myself and being like, I don't even care. Like, oh, an email came in. I almost cared. Like, I almost cared. I'm out of
I
office, right?
almost cared.
Because as entrepreneurs, we get fixated on like doing all of the things. And it's like, no, you have to carve out that time to rest and digest. And then I try to honor being off on Saturday, emphasis on try. Sometimes it doesn't work out. But yeah, that's kind of how you take this more macro approach of utilizing your cycle for business and get more micro with it for like your day to day and your week.
Totally. I love that. I'm very similar in the sense of how I structure my calendar, and I always bookend my week. Like Mondays and Fridays are always those days where I'm conscious of not scheduling in too much and creating time for myself, because it's like Monday I need that time to kickstart and get my ideas out and execute on a few little things that are like pressing for the week, and just like my time, the things I need to do. And then Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays are very client driven, community driven, and then Fridays I love the R&D. I like how you broke that down, and rest and digest and research and development. That's really good. Yeah, I'm very much the same way on Fridays, or scheduling like acupuncture appointments on Fridays to like kind of end the week. So I love it. And it's so important for other entrepreneurs, and just whether you're an entrepreneur or not, to really think about it in this way. Like, how can you even reward yourself at the end of the week? It's just like a simple self-care thing that you can implement or something, right? So I think it's a really powerful way to break it down.